Rabbit class, hello, hope you're all okay. Now I've just got one story today because it's a little bit longer, and this story is called One World, and I've picked this story because we're learning all about oceans this week, aren't we? And I know I'm really enjoying that topic and I hope you are too. And I thought this story links in really well with our topic. So, are you ready? Are you sitting comfortably? Good. One World by Michael Foreman. One sky, one sun, one moon, one world. A little girl stood at the edge of the world and looked up at the sun. She watched it go down at the end of the day. At night, she watched the moon rise and the stars come out. It's a nice thing to do, isn't it? Watch the sun come up and the moon go out. As she watched, she thought of all the creatures who lived under the sea, the animals who shared the warmth of the sun and bathed in the soft, silver light of the moon. The next day, the little girl and her brother stood at the edge of a pool by the sea. They looked into the clear water. The rocks in the pool stood like mountains, their peaks white with old barnacles. Can you see the rock pools? That's something we were learning about, wasn't it, on Monday? Ooh, pages are getting stuck. Each time a wave washed through a gap in the rocks, dark forests of weeds waved as though they were trees in the wind. Tiny fish darted into the shadows past sea anemones, like flowers in a secret garden. "Look at that tin can," cried the boy. "It's a sunken ship full of buried treasure." And as they watched, they saw starfish move slowly amongst a galaxy of shells and pebbles, round as moons. On the surface of the pool, two feathers bobbed in a blob of oil. Oh dear, that's not a good sign, is it? The girl dipped her bucket in the pool and half filled it with water. She dropped a little sand into the bucket and watched it drift down to the bottom. Her brother found stones covered in seaweed and put them in the bucket. Together, the children watched the leaves swaying in the water, and then they added other kinds of seaweed and coloured stones and shells. They admired their tiny new world, but it still needed something. It needed more life. So they've made their own little rock pool in the bucket. So the boy chased a shrimp with his net. He imagined the shrimp was a whale. In a short time, he caught 2 shrimps and 3 small fishes. He dropped them carefully into the bucket and watched them swim around. The 2 children had made their own world. It was a new world with its own forests and its own life. The oil had now spread across the surface and formed a rainbow over the upturned sky of the pool. But as it spread, the pool began to turn cloudy, and the constellations of the shells and the starfish disappeared, just as the moon and stars are hidden when the forests of the world are burned. So the oil is spreading, and unfortunately it's making the water all cloudy, isn't it? The pool, which had reminded the children of the beauty of the world, now showed how easily it could be spoiled. It reminded them of the larger world they knew, where forests were disappearing in clouds of smoke and people in towns were poisoning the land and the seas. A world where creatures, even far off in the snows and the deepest oceans were not safe. Their little pool seemed so small and the world so big. Just a drop in the ocean, really. "What can we do?" cried the boy. "You could help me," said the girl. And together they removed the tin can and dropped one feather and the blob into it. They used the other feather to skim off the oily rainbow. Carefully they returned all the things from the bucket to the larger world of the pool. Soon the tide would return and join the pool to the wide world of the ocean. Now, do you think they've done the right thing? That night, the children watched the moon and the stars. They thought about all the other children who lived under the sky, who needed the warmth of the sun and the soft silver light of the moon. They all lived on one world, and that world too they held in their hands. I really like that story. It fits in beautifully with what we're learning this week and really makes us think about how precious our world is and how we need to look after it, doesn't it? I hope you enjoyed that story. I'll be back for another story tomorrow. So sleep tight and I will see you tomorrow. Bye everybody.